This is the sound of common sense defending freedom. The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson.
Many things being learned already today. In case you're not familiar with the show, we ask you to tell us what you've learned throughout the program. Hashtag what I learned today. You can tweet at Doc Thompson Show or at Skip Lacombe. Cal's normally here with us, but he's off this week. It's KAL79. You got Rick answering the phone at the welding room. Britt's in here, and it's Britt has some fascination with limes or something.
I believe it's Britt likes limes.
Yeah, so if you want to get in touch with anybody's show. But we ask you, please tell us what you've learned. You go back and read those hashtags. Hashtag what I learned today. They're usually pretty funny, even if you read ones from the past.
Yeah, Big Daddy-O learning this morning. At Doc Thompson Show's mom is awesome.
Yeah, she's a trip.
That is true. That is a good. I didn't know that about her affinity for.
You know, I got to talk more about that at some point too, and tell some of the other ways that I've just given her the business on this stuff. She gets really ticked off.
We're gonna have to talk about this off the air. Also, Wacky Turbacki learning this morning: bury human bones in the neighbor's yards, then let the authorities facilitate the vacation.
Oh, that's a good point.
The vacancy.
Yeah, you may get them to vacate if you do that. Some human bones over there.
It's either a statue of St. Joseph or a human femur will do the trick.
Secretary of State John Kerry in Indonesia. Did you see that? He's starting on a 3-country tour of parts of Asia. Indonesia, he was going to South Korea, Abu Dhabi, and the United Arab Emirates. And he was there specifically in Indonesia speaking about climate change. Do we have the audio, Skip Lacombe?
Yes, we do.
Here it is. Apparently we don't have the audio, Skip Lacombe. Here it is.
When I think about the array of global climate, of global threats, think about this. Terrorism, epidemics,
yes,
poverty, the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction.
All threats.
Yeah.
All challenges that know no borders.
Yes.
The reality is that climate change ranks right up there with every single one of them.
Preach it.
And it is a challenge that I address in nearly every single country that I visit as Secretary of State. Because President Obama and I believe it is urgent that we do so. And the reason is simple.
Yes. What is it? What's the reason?
The science of climate change is leaping out at us like a scene from a 3D movie. It's warning us. It's compelling us.
Wait a minute. What? A 3D movie leaping out?
It's leaping out at us.
He's leaping out at me? What is he?
It's leaping out at us like a scene from a 3D movie,
It's
man.
a really bad metaphor.
Is leaping out at us like a scene from a 3D movie.
Bang.
It's warning us. It's compelling us to act. And let there be no doubt in anybody's mind that the science is absolutely certain. It's something that we understand with absolute assurance of the veracity of that science.
Okay,
I have to tell you.
Hold on a second. So the science is settled. The debate's over?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's a certain certainty with the veracity of these statements. We know without a shadow of a doubt.
What is this, like Mad Libs?
That's exactly what it is.
John Kerry Mad Libs in Indonesia? He's just randomly putting up words? I don't think he knows what those mean. Go back and listen to that again.
Is absolutely certain. It's something that we understand with absolute assurance.
Okay, wait. Go back. You know what? He wanted to say certainty again, but he already said certainty, so he couldn't go there again. Listen.
That the science is absolutely certain. It's something that we understand with absolute assurance of the veracity of that science.
So the debate's over, he's saying once again. The debate's over. I have a question. I tweeted this out yesterday over the weekend. How can the debate be over if so many of us are debating it? How is the debate over? We're all debating it. That's the point. Could this be just propaganda, them saying that? Is that possible?
It's possible. I think so. Because the debate really isn't over.
No. I'm still debating it. I'll be debating it. I mean, listen, climate change, absolutely the climate's changing. The climate changes every second of every day. Look at the weather. Changes constantly. Okay, you mean like big climate changes. Got it. Big climate changes happen every single day. There's nothing static. The planet is not static. It's not a static temperature. It's always in flux. It is in flux since its inception, and it'll be in flux up until its demise. You can be assured that its veracity is mutually certain.
I said that already.
Damn. It's always in flux. That's the point. I don't debate that. Of course it is. Debate that man is causing it. I think it has a little more to do with that big fiery orb in the sky that is responsible for things growing on the planet, and its heating and its orbit might have a little more to do with it than me spraying an aerosol can outside. Maybe, possibly. Here's the thing, though. When these knuckleheads tell you that we've got to stop the climate from changing, aren't they really saying that they are stopping their own belief in evolution? See, I don't think creation and evolution are exclusive. I don't think they're in conflict. No, I think even though I believe in creation, I know it's real. Evolution is, I believe, still a part of it. Look at farmers. My great-grandfather, my dad's grandfather, used to have a tremendous garden in southeastern West Virginia where my dad grew up. My dad told me the story of how frustrated he would get when my great-grandfather would pick the best tomatoes and the best cucumbers, the best squash, and let them go to seed. They couldn't eat those ones. He was picking the biggest and the best, the shiniest. And my dad was like, what do you do? Those are the good ones. What are we eating? The ones that aren't as good. What was he doing? He was taking the best stock and using those for future seeds. And anyone who's had a garden in their family for a long time, those are incredibly valuable seeds. Bigger, stronger, better. That's evolution. You're picking the best. It's survival of the fittest. You're picking the best ones, and you're breeding that. It's like breeding stock when people say. There is some parts of evolution that, of course, are true. So they're not exclusive. But what these knuckleheads have said over and over is that creation doesn't exist. Of course, they put all above God. Isn't that going against their own beliefs then? If they believe in evolution, if they believe in all of that exclusively, why would you try to stop the planet from evolving? This shows that people like John Kerry and the president see themselves as gods. Oh, not because necessarily of their position as president or secretary of state. They believe that they are smarter, more powerful. They can change. They believe this. Not just them, progressives in general believe this nonsense. They put themselves above God. So they say God doesn't exist. I believe exclusively in evolution, and we've got to stop the climate from changing. Why would you stop it from changing? That's how we got here. It shows how arrogant they are. That now, according to their beliefs, that we've gotten to this point where man is where it is, where we are at this point in history. Evolution saw the little creatures crawl out from the primordial ooze and then slowly grow legs and walk upright, and here we are. We had all the technology. Yet now is when they want to stop evolution. Isn't that a little bit arrogant too?
We finally got to the point where we're happy with things.
This is where it is.
Let's go ahead and stop it right
here. This is where it's the best.
I mean, we know had people, 10,000 years ago stopped things there, we wouldn't have life as we would today.
Wouldn't have cell phones and stuff. But this is
now,
it. Right here.
I mean, who knows what technological advances we'll have over the next 50, 100 years.
No, that doesn't matter. Right here, Skip.
Let the earth do its net. How arrogant to think you're going to be able to stop this.
It was funny.
You were on a rock that is floating through space around a giant glowing orb, and you think that you driving a Prius is helping? How stupid do you have to be?
Listen, I'm driving a Leaf. Come on, man.
Golly.
I bike to work a couple times a week. Come on. That's going to help it, isn't it?
I mean, how arrogant of these people. And then you have John Kerry, who's on his private plane flying all across the country.
Think about this a minute. Look around. Is this really where you want to stop it? Seriously, if you're these nuts, if you're these big progressives out there, Is this is the place you said, yes, we're here. This is the place. This is paradise to you? This is nirvana. We're here. Let's stop it right here. They're like 21. They think they're going to go over. I want to get as close to perfection. I don't want to go up. Stop it right here. This is it. This is where I got to stop it. Come on. All right. Do we have more of Secretary of State John Kerry?
I have to tell you, this is really not a normal kind of difference of opinion between people. Sometimes you can have a reasonable argument and a reasonable disagreement over an opinion you may have. This is not opinion. This is about facts. This is about science. The science is unequivocal. And those who refuse to believe it are simply burying their heads in the sand. Now, President Obama and I...
Hold it. I got to talk about this whole flat earther thing. They have been masterful at painting people who debate as flat earthers. If you are really a scientist, if you are really of scientific mind, you never truly conclude. You never truly say, this is fact. You're always challenging fact. I am more scientifically minded than they are. Challenging each and every fact, skeptical of everything, always.
Question everything.
Question all of it. That's what scientists are doing. What they do is put up a hypothesis that they want, and then they work to prove it, not to disprove it. True scientists work to prove or disprove. And those are the true flat earthers there, the ones who want to believe something. It's no different than at one time people believed that if a car, the horseless carriage, they believed that if a car could travel more than 35 miles an hour, the human body couldn't withstand those speeds in an automobile. Mm-hmm. Race car drivers.
Our understanding of this world and of science evolves every second of every day. Back 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, those scientists at that time knew without a shadow of a doubt that their understanding of the world was the way the world works.
Skip, they believed that the sun revolved around the earth. They believed the earth was flat. They knew it. And those were scientists at the time telling you.
The smartest people in the world.
Right, that you were wrong to believe this, ridiculing.
They could prove it with graphs and what. They knew, and they were wrong.
So when they want to settle science, that's not science. And if you're a scientist who believes it's settled, that's not science. You're not a scientist. You know what you are? You're a propagandist. You're a progressive propagandist. But I'm being redundant. Skip, start John Kerry's speech over at the beginning. I want to touch on one other thing that he mentioned.
When I think about the array of global climate, of global threats, think about this. Terrorism, epidemics, poverty, the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. All challenges that know no borders.
Wait, he's comparing it to a weapon of mass destruction? Climate change
same thing.
Is a weapon of mass destruction?
Absolutely. I mean, global terror. I mean,
no, wait. It can be something of mass destruction. An earthquake, tornado, volcano, and it's of course. That can massively destruct things. Absolutely. Has it been used as a weapon?
Not that I'm aware of.
Get Alex Jones ready. I think they have a weather controlling machine.
Is that what he's saying?
I think that's what he's saying, that the United States has some sort of weather control device. They're able to control otherwise, how would it be used as a weapon?
They're all just as serious.
Skip, I have one other question for you.
Yeah, what's that?
John Kerry's in Asia, as I said, given this Indonesia. He's going to Korea, Abu Dhabi. How did he get to Asia? Did he walk?
No, there's an ocean.
How did he get there?
Yeah, that flying bird.
Oh, a glider, wind power.
No,
he got the wind power.
This was an airplane.
It had to be a glider. They believe in wind power.
It was a jet, though. It was
big solar panels on the top of it, something like that?
It was one of the regular fuel.
Like a bicycle? Fuel? What do you mean?
Regular airplane, we've flown in airplanes. It's the same type of.
Like jet fuel?
Yeah, jet fuel. Lots of it.
Skip, that is carbon energy.
Tens of thousands of gallons of jet fuel.
That's not sustainable. That's carbon. That's a fossil fuel.
Yes, it is.
But he didn't have to go to this trip.
No, he didn't. In fact, he could have given that speech via Skype.
He could have called him. He could have written a letter. He could have texted him. Mm-hmm. He could have done that. Now, why did he fly there if he's so concerned about this stuff? This is like me saying, all right, we've all got to stop eating so much. But while I'm having this speech about eating too much, can you pass the potatoes? This is ridiculous. You're hypocrites. This is the Morning Blaze.
Not a puppy, a ninja, a dancing bird, or an angry kitty. Just a talking doc. This is the Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson on the Blaze Radio Network.
Mercury.
Instead of punching a total stranger this morning, punch these numbers into your phone. 888-900-3393. The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson.
All right, according to carbonfootprint.com, carbonfootprint.com, and data from the EPA and the Department of Energy, flying first class from D.C. to Seoul, to Beijing to Jakarta, to Abu Dhabi, and then back to D.C. runs roughly 12.16 metric tons of carbon dioxide. That's what John Kerry burned. Let me put that in perspective. The average American generates about 19 tons of carbon dioxide per year, meaning in his 1 week trip flying there unnecessarily, he generated 2/3 of the carbon output for one average American in a year, what they would use in an entire year. Yeah, I would say that's being a hypocrite. Let's go to the phones now, 888-900-3393. Jason, you're on the Morning Blaze.
Hey, this is Libertarian Jason. I just wanted to throw out the fact that it seems like the climate scientists always seem to have their math down, that they can predict things that are going to happen in 200 years, 100 years. They're going to know what water levels are going to be. But I wonder if I gave them what the national debt's going to look like in 5 to 10 years, could they come up with the same conclusion that it's going to kill us?
Yeah, they can't. They've proved either they can't or they don't care that it's going to, Jason. One of the two.
Yeah, no, the thing that's always stood out to me about this global warming farce is the fact that, you know, the number one source, I mean, if you really believe this, if you believe man is the source, then every person that claims to be such an advocate for it should adopt a vegetarian diet, because a meat-based diet creates more greenhouse gas on the man-made side of the equation than every form of transportation combined. So these people, PETA was actually after Al Gore for this for years, hounding him wherever he went on all of his green things, saying, you're such a hypocrite, you're flying around and you're eating meat, and that's the number one thing you could do if you truly believe this.
Well, and you remember his house was gargantuan. Jason, what this comes down to, and you're absolutely right, these people want do as I say, not as I do, because progressives don't believe in equality. They believe in all of us being lower than a handful of these people. Appreciate the call, Jason. Whoops, I got to skate. I'm going to take off. We got a quick break coming up. But thanks so much, Jason. Really appreciate it. 888-900-3393 or tweet at Doc Thompson Show or at Skip Lacombe. These people believe that all of us should be equal at a very low level, while a handful of them can do whatever the hell they want. It's not all that different from Kim Jong-un and the way he lives. Lives high off the hog while everybody else is suffering. That's what they actually want, and that's what they'll lead to. By the way, Skip and I tweeted out a little Instagram video yesterday about it being so cold, and I'm so frustrated by it. I'm going to retweet it. You're going to want to check that out. It's at Doc Thompson Show.
You're listening to The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson
on the Blaze Radio Network. Mercury.
with Doc Thompson. 888-900-3393.
All right, what are you laughing at?
Cincy Browncoat tweeting at us with that hashtag, what I learned today. John Kerry talking about reducing greenhouse gases is the same as Chris Christie being the spokesman for Let's Move.
I thought he was the spokesperson.
No, it's Michelle Obama. That's different.
Okay. I see where you're going. I was confused. I was trying to pull up the imagery in my head, and I was trying to find the differences.
It's close.
Interesting there. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good one. Tweet at Doc Thompson Show or at Skip Lacombe. Tell us what you learned. Use the hashtag What I Learned Today. President Obama was traveling as well to speak on the environment. So John Kerry traveled to Asia to speak on the environment after burning a bunch of fossil fuel. Mm-hmm. The president traveled to California cross country. So it wasn't around the globe, but it was across country, thousands of miles with multiple aircraft because he's got to have both of the planes that act as Air Force One. They have the advanced team go. They take his limousine. They have the advanced team and all of the people there fly on other planes. I mean, you were talking a massive airlift burning gobs and gobs of fossil fuel. And he did that to go and speak on the environment in California.
So hypocritical.
Well, I'll let you be the judge, see what he accomplished there. He went to California to speak on the environment, specifically about the drought in California.
Okay.
Did you know California is going through a pretty big drought right now?
Be much of the Southwest and West, yeah. Very, very dry.
Well, I understand why some of it's going through a drought because it's the desert.
Yes.
I don't know if the president knows this or not, but the deserts often experience a drought.
Yes.
That's the purpose of a desert. There's not a lot of precipitation, not a lot of water.
You know, I grew up in the Southwest, in the Albuquerque, New Mexico
Are
area.
you aware that the desert often has droughts?
Yeah, there were a lot of times when it was dry.
Apparently the president didn't know that.
Yeah, if he'd asked me, I could have let him know that.
Would you have had to have flown to California or to D.C. or anything?
No, I could have tweeted at him even.
Interesting. That's really interesting. You'd think these climatologists would understand that. Now, there are parts of California they say are under a drought that hasn't been in the past. But again, these climatologists should understand evolution, that California didn't always have the same climate it has now. 1,000 years ago, probably not. 10,000, probably not. It hasn't always been that way. 1,000,000 years ago, probably a little different. Maybe, possibly. It had some dinosaurs along the way at some point. You don't see those anymore. I mean, other than Harry Reid, but that's a different species. That's getting off topic here. Jeez. So California's in a bit of a drought, parts of it. And this is just evolving. It's the ups and downs of the environment. But they said, no, we've got to do something about this. They're very concerned. Climatologists saying this is because of man-caused global climate change. That's the reason we're having a drought there. So the president goes to California doing what he says is causing man-caused global warming by burning fossil fuels. And when he gets there to talk about drought, he has a meeting, a big speechifying near Fresno to talk about the water shortages. And then he spends the rest of the weekend, Skip, very concerned about the water. On golf courses.
Golf. You know what golf courses use?
A whole lot of water.
A
lot of water. Well, he's got to go to where the water is if you want to talk about it, right? He's conducting his own investigation on the water shortage, and he's realized after spending multiple days golfing at these water hog golf courses that, yes, there's a lot of water that is being used here.
And these golf courses he was golfing at, were they also in California?
Yes, they were. Would you like to know about them?
Sure, please.
Now, he was in Fresno,
okay,
which is right near the Coachella Valley, right? That's right there?
Yes, indeed.
Is it right there?
I
think further
so. I think it's more south, yeah.
So he had to travel to Palm Springs area, which is a little farther away.
Now, Palm Springs is right next to the Coachella Valley.
Yeah, but not next to Fresno. It's down a little bit there, so he had to travel there. So he spends 3 days at two of the most exclusive golf courses in Palm Springs area. The first day, he goes to Sunnylands Estate and golfs there. Now, this was built by the late billionaire Walter Annenberg. It is very shishi, very, very highbrow. And he golfs there on Saturday. And then on Sunday, he golfs at the billionaire Oracle founder Larry Ellison's 19-hole Porcupine Creek. He golfs there. Very upscale as well. And then Monday, President's Day, he goes back to the links at Sunnylands for a third day of golf. Let me put this into perspective for you. Why was he in California?
To talk about global climate change.
And specifically California's being affected because of a drought.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm sorry, why was he in California? Talk about what?
The drought, the lack of water.
Yeah, the 124 golf courses in the Coachella Valley consume about 7% of all the water there. I'm sorry, did I say 7? 17%.
That is astounding.
The golf courses in the Coachella Valley consume 17% of their water. And the president, after giving a speech on the drought, spends his day using the very thing that is responsible for the consumption of 17% of their water. If those golf courses were not there, the people of the Coachella Valley would have 17% more water. That is an instant turnaround. But instead of saying, I'm not going there because I'm so morally driven to battle this drought, he went there and added to the drought. He added to it by flying there and then added to it by golfing on the golf courses of billionaires who are sucking up the very water that he claims he's concerned about.
In fact, I would argue it's actually worse because the president had gone there. You think that if the president is going to come golf at your golf course in the weeks leading ahead, the
grass isn't going to be brown.
You're going to make sure that grass looks as good as it's ever looked. So
it's going to be green,
they
baby.
probably use 17.5% of the town's water leading up to that.
I'm sorry, why was the president in California? I keep forgetting.
Because they don't have enough water.
Oh, talking about the drought.
The
okay.
drought, yeah, lack of water.
Roughly 1% of all water in California goes to keep golf courses green.
That is amazing.
He could provide that much more water instantly overnight if they got rid of golf courses. Now, I'm not suggesting the president force golf courses to close or legislation or anything like that. My point is he's being a hypocrite. The golf courses want to operate there, and they're willing to pay for the water. I got no beef with them, fine. But I'm not the one there. I'm going to talk about the drought, and we got to do something. You know what his only solution was to the drought? Do you want to know what his big plan was out of his speech? Not to stop wasting water on golf courses. Spend more money. He has a big plan to spend more money to make the...
Now, how is spending more money going to magically get more water?
Unless he's planning on trucking in bottles of Evian, it's not going to happen. It's just spend more money. It's a payback to the billionaires that he was hobnobbing with because those people are likely invested in those things. Oh, Marsha Blackburn over the weekend doing battle with Bill Nye the Science Lie. Did we settle on Bill Nye the Science Lie?
I think that's the winner, dude.
Or Bill Nye the faux science guy?
I kind of like Science Lie.
All right. As of now, until someone tells me a better one, Bill Nye the Science Lie. She's doing battle with him on there. He is telling about how awful it is in the with the disappearing ice. Now, the way I understand it, the ice at the Arctic has been leaving and then it freezes over again. But the Antarctic has a lot more ice.
Yes. The Antarctic has been growing.
That's the South Pole. They're growing ice like record. Okay, let's hear the debate here.
Is back up and let's agree on the facts. Would you say that the Antarctic has less ice than it used to? When you asserted, Congresswoman...
Wait a minute. He held up a picture of the Arctic, and he said the Antarctic has less ice. It doesn't. So which is it? Did he hold up the wrong picture, and he really believes the Arctic has less ice, and he misspoke when he said Antarctic, or does he believe the Antarctic has less ice, which is wrong, and yet held up the wrong picture?
We would have to ask Mr. Nye.
Go back to the beginning of Bill Nye the Science Lie. Listen to this.
Is back up and let's agree on the facts. Would you say that the Antarctic has less ice than it used to? When you asserted, Congresswoman...
No, that's not a fact. How is that a fact?
I tell you what, Bill, it would be great if we could just agree on some of the damn facts.
If you actually got the facts right, Bill, we could agree on some of them. I continue where he is. Bill Nye the Science Lie.
From 320 to 400 parts per million is insignificant. My goodness, that's 30%. I mean, that's an enormous change, and it's changing the world. And that's just over the last few...
Stop. The hair, the tie, the lie. This guy is a joke.
The only person that should ever ever wear bow ties, we've said before, is
formal wear,
formal
tuxedos,
wear, a clown,
and clowns. That's it.
And Glenn Beck. That's okay.
I've never agreed to that.
Oh, I think it's okay.
Listen, it's either formal wear or you're a clown. Those are the only people that could wear bow ties.
That's what I said.
Oh, gotcha. This is the Morning Blaze.
The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson. Mercury.
You're listening to The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson.
All righty, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, the end of the Doc Thompson Show. But before we go, as always, let's find out. We learned I don't condone violence over bacon.
You don't?
But I do understand it. I don't condone it, but I understand it. We learned that if you're having neighbor troubles, try burying a statue of St. Joseph in their yard. We learned that John Kerry may have traveled to Asia via Nissan Leaf. We learned to be on the lookout for microaggression. It's just like aggression, only smaller. We learned a group of white guys sitting on a bench is called the NBA. Whatever that is. I don't know what the NBA is.
National Basketball Association.
I don't know why.
It's dead to you. I'd forget.
We learned from Mark in Albany, it's adorable when Skip pulls the step stool up to the desk and bangs his little fist, his little clenched fist.
Take it anymore.
We learned that Bill Nye, the science guy, just wants to agree on the facts that he doesn't know.
Yes.
And finally, we learned the deserts are dry. Skip Lacombe, producer, what, if anything, did you learn today?
I learned that I believe in micro-equality for all micro men, judging them on their micro-character and not the micro-color of their micro-skin.
I think that statement is microaggressive right there.
Dude, I'm not.
Right there.
I'm trying to...
You're bordering on aggression or maybe even macroaggression.
I learned Chris Christie has never, ever heard of microaggression.
Is that a fat joke?
Yes, he's...
Wow, that's
very,
really, I'm going to tell you,
very
that's,
fat.
You really, that's...
We learned
funny.
Sherry's Berries gained some business today and Wells Fargo lost some.
Oh, wow.
And finally, we learned Doc Thompson buried his Disco Wanda in hopes of getting out of his lease in Dayton early.
Edit that out. I don't want that ever.
That's what I hear.
Get rid of that.
You got to bury your face down, though.
Remember, podcasts of this program can be heard at theblaze.com/Doc Thompson. Theblaze.com/Doc Thompson. All right, Skip Lacombe, what, if anything, did Britt learn spinning the dials radio style in New York City this morning?
Brittany learned Doc's mother's the future patron saint of pulling a fast one over on St. Joseph statues. Very clever.
Nicely done. What, if anything, did Rick learn answering the phones today?
Rick's learned clogged toilets and hammered thumbs are a few factors in the rise of microaggression.
It's micro, M-I-C-R-O, not micro.
See, that explains it. Rick also learning Skippy drink soda pop at the airport bar. And finally, Rick learned the jet stream launches seasons at us like nuclear weapons. It's true. It's just as serious, okay?
American Pride Roasters is the official coffee of the Morning Blaze. Check out American Pride Roasters. It is sensational coffee, folks, and it's a great company that takes pride in America, hence the name American Pride Roasters. Skip Lacombe, what, if anything, did the listeners learn today?
Rhino Hunter learning, what do you call a black guy flying a plane? A pilot, you microaggressive racist.
That was redundant, but still, it was funny.
Cincy Browncoat learning Chris Christie can never be accused of microaggression. He's fat and furious.
All of these Chris Christie fat jokes,
they're true.
They're
okay. True. Muted Mind learning a mobile bank keeps your money safe so you never know where it is.
Always moving. It's in flux.
Sarah learned if Wells Fargo liked at Skip Lacombe service, they should have put a ring on it. Clinton learned there's a pizza place that truly delivers. Hashtag 9 months later. Hashtag pizza too good. Dan learning free kid with purchase of large specialty pizza. Hashtag did somebody order a pizza?
Ho ho, what's this?
Cosmic Duck learning I am for one certainly... Let me go ahead.
Hang on a second. We'll edit that out. No one will ever hear your colossal mistake just now. Hang on.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Cosmic Duck learning I for one am certain of Secretary Kerry's...
Here we go. Take 2. No one will ever hear your colossal second screw up. 3, 2.
I, for one, am certainly certain of Secretary Kerry's certainty with a failure of certitude.
Not sure that was any better.
Kimberly learning at John Kerry, I am the god of hellfire and I bring you fire. Justin learning, I'm helping climate change by driving a Pinto with baby seal pelt seats while eating bacon out of styrofoam containers.
Wait a minute.
Wow, Justin.
Give me that again.
I'm helping climate change by driving a Pinto with baby seal pelt seats while eating bacon out of styrofoam containers.
The baby seal pelt seats.
Those got to be comfy, man. Goodness. Crusader Rabbit learning John Kerry is a weapon of mass distraction. Lady Hecate learning in reference to climate change, humans are the planet what Skip Lacombe is to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
All right. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't get those new numbers on procrastination. I'm going to do those right off at 6 tomorrow. You've been waiting. They're coming up at 6. What else do we have coming up at 6 tomorrow?
Some new information about Obamacare, and Obama's given a brand new hard-hitting interview with a great reporter.
Okay, we'll see about that. What does Glenn Beck have coming up on his big show today?
Actually, top of the second hour, Dr. Greg Brannon.
Oh, from North Carolina. Glenn's going to talk to him.
Gig.
Excellent.
Don't
This guy
miss that, folks.
rocks.
He's
This
great.
is going to be great. You're going to love this. What is Glenn wearing today?
A lot of black. I don't know. It looks like he's applying for a job as a barista at a Starbucks.
Well, he is in New York today.
Turtleneck. And
All right, remember the Doc Thompson Show is a Skip Lacombe and Rick production. Sic Semper Tyrannis. Good night, Steve Cannon. Wherever you are. I'm Young. Now, you go home. Extra foam. Extra...
The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson.